Hello everybody, welcome to another One Piece review. This time we're covering manga chapter 1131. Oda approved with this chapter. If he didn't convince you with the previous chapter, he most definitely convinced you with this chapter that patience can sometimes be rewarded. Like, this chapter we're 2 chapters in to Elbaf and already Oda is on point. Loki was a big question mark. We got some answers, but we got a lot of questions that need to be answered as well. Speaking of questions that were answered, I will dive through this quickly. We did get the SBS reveal recently, and I guess the biggest thing that a lot of people took away from that was the reveal from Oda that who fed Luffy or assisted Luffy in feeding him that allowed him to like stuff his face with the vending machine on Egghead Island to help out against Sam, because obviously he was nerfed after using Gear 5th so many times. I lost count. It turns out through Oda that if you noticed, and a lot of people pointed this out through the magnifying glasses that they never put down for these past 3 weeks, but apparently it was Kizaru with the noodles, the ramen noodles, that kind of out of left field. So a lot of people made a huge racket about that. Here's the thing, and I may have mentioned this already, but it's no big deal, but too little, too late. I'm sorry. Move on. Speaking of moving on, we're actually on to Elbaf now, and we actually got with the cover page, and we actually got some progression because now we have Yamato and Tama in hot pursuit along with Speed. She's joined the crew because obviously the katana got... Now, I was kind of hoping that Yamato was kind of faking it to transport, but via Kinemon, but obviously that's been stolen, so now they have to get it back. We don't know who stole it, we don't know who's behind the kidnappings, the disappearances, but Speed is tagging along with them, so what's the ultimate payoff? I don't know, but we did get some progression regardless, so we'll see where that goes. Get into this chapter, and speaking of like progression, holy crap. So it starts off with Luffy finally realizing, yeah, they're finally on Elbaf. He's talking about Usopp like Loki's supposed to know who Usopp actually is. So, but then this is where things get a little intense because he's like, yo, I'm talking to you, and he's yelling, and you see the shockwaves and the animals in the background. What's really cool is we get the backstory of the importance of these animals, and we also get the reveal of Loki's bounty, which shouldn't be a shock, but it's a 2 bill, 600 mil. So yeah, so he's pretty high up, and arguably the strongest giant, considering who actually helped out the giants, in my opinion, who ended up locking up Loki. And like I suspected, those chains are made out of sea stone, so there's not much Luffy can do about that. And then he proceeds to ask Luffy about, hey, what do you think about the situation I'm in? I'm locked in. He's been locked in for 6 years. Like I suspected, they're at the bottom of Elbaf right now, so nobody's able to go anywhere near that. So he's been stuck there for 6 years. Luffy's like, what do I think? You're locked up, aren't you? But he's like the biggest menace to the world right now, coming from Elbaf. So obviously we know why he's locked up. We also know his connection with Harudin, who we also saw in this chapter. So there was a lot of progression, like I said. We get the whole layout of the tree, by the way. The tree, the world tree, or in this case, the Adam treasure tree, which I think is very interesting because of Adam Wood. So he goes on to confirm, yeah, these chains are made out of sea stone. Makes sense if he's a devil fruit user, like I said. So Loki is calling Luffy Rhodey, which is something that's interesting because Oda flipped the script, because usually it's Luffy being the one to give somebody a nickname. The only person he's done that for recently is Bonnie, who actually referred to Bonnie as her actual name. So Loki's like, yo, let's make a deal. If you set me free, I'll completely wipe out a pirate crew. What you gonna do? Now, I don't know about you, but this could be a scene of foreshadowing here. But the problem is he's in Kurosaki chains, so there's not much Luffy can do. He like kind of bargains with Luffy to like let him free. Luffy's like, he's actually pondering about it, but it's like, I don't know if Luffy's gonna actually go through with this, or this was actually foreshadowing on Oda's behalf, because I do see like an alliance being formed here. There has to be a reason why Oda jumped to this immediately in the initial chapter. In the previous chapter, when we first got to Elbaf, Oda wasted little time and we got this interaction. Now we're getting a deal cut. Whether or not Luffy's going to go through with this, I don't know. it's possible. If he does, I can look at this moment and say, okay, this could be some type of foreshadowing here. Then it proceeds to like talk about the layout of where they're at right now. They're at the execution ground that serves as a prison and obviously as an execution ground itself. So those labeled criminals are sent here. So there's been multiple giants that have been sent down there, but they turn to bones. We got wild animals, obviously, so that makes sense. And the minute we see them, this was a reference to a pre-time skip training with Luffy. He was teaching Luffy about hockey. I find that very ironic considering we just got the remastered Fishman Island arc just started. So I don't know if that was just a coincidence or if Oda did that by design. And even Luffy's like, yo, this brings back memories. Yeah, I wonder why. So according to him, if you dig through the snow here, you'll find a ton of giant human bones. Obviously, giants that have been killed off or executed. Then we'll see, according to now this is where I took interest because according to our mythology, this mountain, which existed for tens of thousands of years, is known as the primordial world. Which is interesting because the Yggdrasil tree is known as the Nine Worlds, I believe, as well as the World Tree. So I wonder. And Oda is using mythology here. So if he's using Norse mythology, then that could be the direction we're going in, and we got 9 separate worlds here in Elbaf, possibly. He says that mountains have existed for tens of thousands of years. Now, initially, I thought that there might be a rock poneglyph inside the tree, but now with this statement, and if there is a rock poneglyph, I'm banking on either it's going to be inside that tree or it's going to be inside these mountains, because obviously tens of thousands of years, it makes the most sense. But we'll see. We'll see. We just got here, so Oda will take his time with that, I'm sure. But it's just something to keep in mind here, and it's definitely something that stuck out to me. Then we see the hooded figures. These are small fries who dared to pick a fight with Elbaf. So they got locked down here too. But they're not in chains like Loki is. So that tells you the level of threat they are. Which they say something really stupid. They're like going, it's like, oh, maybe we should go rob this guy. Has he got anything valuable? Yeah, that's not going to go well for you. But then this is where Luffy perked up, because I don't want to pass out like last time. Got it? So who would have thought that Yonko Shanks, the redhead, would be in a place like this? Now, I'll get to that in a second, but that's where Luffy perked up, because the moment he heard Shanks, he immediately, well, first off, he actually said, yo, you mentioned Shanks? It looks like he knows something about what happened when Shanks was there, but obviously we know Shanks is not on Elbaf anymore, because we saw him leave. But it's just funny because Luffy is like darting towards him as soon as he heard Shanks, because he wants to hear more. But then as soon as he's describing Shanks, he's like, are you a friend of Red Hair? That cowardly pirate. Yeah. And immediately the gears were switched, literally, and Luffy went into gear 4 and punched the hell out of Loki. Now keep in mind, he's wrapped in Kuroseki chains, so he can't do anything. So you can't really relate this to being a feat, because obviously Loki has been restrained. He's referred to himself as the real sun god of Elbaf. We also know that Luffy's the sun god, so that's definitely going to happen as well. I don't know if this is what's going to lead to them joining forces. I just get this feeling that's where it's leading. But then Luffy's like, yo, even if it's a joke, don't say things like that. So we know how Luffy gets when someone badmouths Shanks. And Loki's like, yo, I can't move, moron. I'm going to kill that jerk as soon as I'm out of these. So he was saying like he was jerking, but I was like, oh, I'm going to kill him as soon as I'm out of these chains. Then Luffy's like, yo, next time you say something like that, I'll smash you into this tree. Which, again, I don't know if this is going to lead into anything, but we could get Gear 5th versus Loki. That would be kind of neat to see. To kind of rate where Loki falls in the power ranking. In my honest opinion, it looks like he's just around Yonko tier, because it looks like Shanks had something to do with him getting restrained. That's just the way I see it. But I don't know. That's the vibe. Like I said, that's the vibes that I got. But then, because Luffy's like, why did Shanks come here? Did he come to meet you? Did he have some business here? Is he still in Elbaf? And then Loki's like, I'm not going to tell you for free. And that's where it cuts. So that's the hook. So we got something going on with Luffy and Loki now. And immediately Oda cuts to like the rest of the Straw Hats that are on Elbaf. Usopp, Nami, Sanji, and Zoro, along with Chopper, who spot we see Road. He's running away. Now it looks like he was going to run after the Straw Hats again, but he's being chased by Gerd and Goldberg, because we know they don't like him at all. I think it was Gerd who pretty much said he's worse than Loki. They also have the Sunny as well, so that could kill two birds with one stone. But they're like, Zoro was like, I have to cut them down. We have no choice. Usopp's like, no, don't do that, because they might be friends of the Masters. We don't really know right now. It looks like, which I don't suspect that as well, considering in the last chapter they were like literally talking about they're not supposed to have intruders here, so they need to take care of anybody that's intruding. So we do also get a kind of rundown of where they operate, because we know they're a part of Horodene's new giant pirate warriors. So we get a lay down of what each of the roles are. So that's pretty cool. Then we get like a moment involving Horodene. Now, what's interesting is like, so this is what I was saying about the nine worlds also being connected to the Yggdrasil, because we get another place described by Oda, Warland Underworld, and this is where we see Horodene along with the shipwright Stanson. So they apparently got a huge dinosaur of meat, so they're providing that to the Straw Hats as a welcoming gift, I guess. So Luffy's going to munch down on that once he sees them. So, and we also had Oda give us a little reminder about Horodene and his history in Dressrosa along with Luffy. So yeah, obviously we got introduced to the shipwright Stanson in this chapter. Gerd obviously is the doctor, and Goldberg is the cook. So we've got 5 if you include Horodene as well. So and they're known as the generation after Dorian Broggy. So they're the new giant pirates that's going to take over Elbaf. I kind of want to know how Elbaf is going to, how the resolution is going to come, because I don't see like Loki remaining in prison. But does that mean Luffy's going to set him free, or is there going to be a resolution involved by the end of the arc? Maybe. So there we go to, in my opinion, the best part of the entire chapter, bar none. So we go to Elbaf coastal waters, and you can tell he's getting you amped up for like what's to come, because they're approaching the Elbaf coastal waters. So they're not on the island yet, but we do go back to the Viking ship with Dorian Broggy, and then we find out Brooke is like, this is my first time cutting a woman's hair. We have a gag with Brooke. Said my heart was racing even though I don't have a heart. Yo. So typical Brooke, and you have Lil in the background laughing her ass off to this. So you don't have a heart. That's anti-science. So that was actually. So I'm really digging the interactions with Lil and the Straw Hats already. You got Bonnie in the background saying you look adorable, Robin. Frankie is like, yo, this brings back memories. So the crew, except Robin, is acting like the fandom right now, because we find out Robin has cut her hair back a little bit longer, but it's obviously nostalgia purposes to look like pre-time skip Robin. That was her hairstyle back when she last saw Soul, and that's why she did it. They mentioned, oh, that's the hairstyle you had when you met Soul, right? And then I think it's Frankie that says, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to end up crying at this reunion. How many of those same people in the fandom that adore Robin had that exact thought in their mind when they saw this scene? How many? Like, that's exactly how this is going to end up. I love this touch by Oda. We see a long distance shot as the ship is approaching Elbaf. So the mist is cleared. They see Elbaf. We know what Elbaf's about now. Now, are they going to approach the bottom, the ground zero level, where Loki and Luffy are at right now? That's my question. But we'll have to wait and see. But we also kind of find out Soul has fallen and he's not moving. So, and that's how the chapter ends. So pump the brakes, because Soul ain't dead. I think this is a gag, because there's a shot with Robin with no dialogue, and Robin just thinking she's in glee, but there's no dialogue from Robin. Like she's happy because she's gonna see Soul again. But that shot, I think Soul noticed Robin and passed out. That's what I think happened. So it's either he passed out seeing Robin, so it's a comedy gag, or it's a serious gag and maybe he has an illness or maybe he's like weak right now. I don't know. But those are the only two things that come to mind right now. He ain't dead. So, but Oda has to do something to like build the tension and suspense. So speaking of build up and tension, I love what Oda did here. Like I said, it's the little details that can make a big difference here. So I love this move by Oda because now you see he's going all in. So Oda is having Robin bring back the pre-time skip hairdo for this reunion with Sol. So now this isn't a joke anymore. This isn't just for shits and giggles. This is going to be a serious moment, and it's going to be an emotional moment. And you can tell by the dialogue through Frankie, that is what Oda realizes. That's what everybody's going to be feeling once we get that initial reunion. He knows what this is about. He knows how we feel. He knows what this is how huge this is going to be, which is why I added this detail, which I love this move. But as I talked about over and over again extensively, the reunion with Sol and Robin is only going to be the beginning of the Robin hype in Elbaf. This is just the start. Mark my words. So, like I said, this was definitely the best part of the entire chapter. It's cool to see Robin with his hairstyle. I never thought we would see this. It shows you how seriously Oda has taken this. So, if you're not hyped about Robin in Elbaf, you better get hyped now. We already got this in this chapter, but I cannot wait to see this in the anime. Like, people are going to lose their minds. This will break the internet. I guarantee it. Like I said at the beginning, Oda proves again, if it wasn't with the last chapter, he proved it with this chapter. Patience can sometimes be rewarded. And I think the anime will follow suit. And that will be proven again in April when we get the return of Egghead Island. This was a great follow-up chapter to the previous chapter, which is just as good. But this was 10 times better because of what it represents. What Oda is preparing us for. So I can't wait to see what lies ahead. Robin sporting the pre-time skip hairdo. I never thought I would say that in this review, but here we are. This is going to make a lot of Robin fans faint after this chapter. That's going to do it for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like the review if you did, thumbs up. I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys' support. Subscribe, channel for more One Piece, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.